The third and final skill on the Geometry Unit 1 quiz was about segment addition, segment bisectors, and the distance formula. Segment addition was measuring the distance between J and L in pieces. So we would say JK plus KL is equal to JL. Or in other words, y plus 5 is equal to 7. The first part plus the second part equals the total. If we subtract 5 from both sides, we can get that y is equal to 2. Another example, we can say 8 plus z is equal to 14. 8 is the first distance, z is the second, and the total is 14. Using algebra, we can subtract 8 from both sides and find an answer of 6. Sometimes they gave us the problem in words instead of a diagram, so we had to think about it. If this is CT like this, and A is somewhere in the middle, and they tell us that CA is 9, and the total distance is 14, what is AT? Well, I'm going to put an x in there as an unknown, and I can write it out as 9 plus x is equal to 14. If I subtract 9 from both sides, I get x is equal to 5. Similar concept, but we start to get a little bit more challenging in terms of the algebra. 20 plus n is equal to the total, 2n minus 1. If I subtract n from both sides, I get 20 is equal to n minus 1. If I add 1 to both sides, I get 21 is equal to n. Now, they might ask you to find SV. So that is 20 plus n. And then I have to plug in 21, and I'm really taking 20 plus 21, which is 41. So don't just assume if you solve for your variable that you have the final answer, because you have to plug it back in too. If they tell us that P is the midpoint of a segment, that means these two distances are equal to each other. We don't know necessarily what they are, but we know they're equal. So you can write it out like this. 3x is equal to 2x plus 4. If I subtract 2x from both sides, I get that x is equal to 4. So if they ask you to find x, there's your answer. If they ask you to find NQ, we have to plug in our 4. So 3 times 4 plus 2 times 4 plus 4. And this gives me 12 plus 8 plus 4. Some people might notice that you only really need to plug it into one side because the two sides are the same. So if you get a 12 over here, you know you're going to get a 12 over there. Either way you do it, the total distance is 24. Here's another one. They don't tell you that E is a midpoint. They ask, is E a midpoint? So what you can do is you can say 3x minus 1 is equal, plus 13 is equal to 6x. So 3x plus 12 is equal to 6x. So 12 is equal to 3x. So 4 is equal to x. And I can plug that back in here. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 1 is 11. If one side is 11 and the other side is 13, is that a midpoint? No, it's not a midpoint. The last part of this skill was finding the distance between 2 points in the coordinate plane. And I like to show you how to do it using the Pythagorean theorem. What we can do here is we can count the distances for the sides and make this a triangle. There's a distance of 2 and a distance of 4. If we call this C, our hypotenuse, we can say that 2 squared plus 4 squared is equal to C squared. Or in other words, 4 plus 16 is equal to C squared. And if we want to take the square root of both sides, we can get that the square root of 20 is equal to our hypotenuse, or the distance. Doing the same thing with a couple more examples, -3, 4, and 5, 4. Since they have the same y-coordinate, you can actually just count over, and you don't even need to do the Pythagorean theorem. If you did, though, it would still work out. Here's another one, -4, -5, and 1, -2. There's a distance of 5 this way, and there's a distance of 3 this way. So I built a right triangle. And a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So 9 plus 25 is equal to c squared. So 34 is equal to c squared, or the square root of 34 is equal to c. Let's do one more. My 2 points are 0, 2, and -1, -4. So this right triangle is going to be kind of small. It has a distance of 1 and has a distance of 6. So 1 squared plus 6 squared is equal to c squared. 1 plus 36 is equal to c squared. 37 is equal to c squared. Root 37 is equal to c. On the review, we saw problems like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to c squared. 9 plus 16 is equal to c squared. 25 is equal to c squared. 5 is equal to c. Pay very close attention to the scale on the graph. This one is counting by ones. On the actual first quiz, sometimes we counted by halves. So pay attention. Here's another one. We can say 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared. 36 plus 64 is equal to c squared. 100 is equal to c squared. 10 is equal to c. Here's another problem. If f is between e and g, and so let's draw that out. Here's f in between e and g. EF is 7, FG is 6. We just take 7 plus 6 and we get 13. If these two are congruent, that means they have the same measure. So if LM is 12, QP is also 12. That's what that equal sign with a squiggly means, that they're congruent and they have the same measure. For this one, we have to set it up like an equation. 14 plus 4x plus 6 is equal to 8x. We combine like terms. We have 20 plus 4x is equal to 8x. We subtract 4x from both sides, and we have 20 is equal to 4x. We divide by 4 on both sides. We have 5 is equal to x. It's not 5, though, because they want to know what is the measure of RT, which is this entire distance. So you still have to take that 5 and plug it in. 8 times 5 is 40.